Okay, I have joined. Yes, yes,
Apurva, you can start with the third myth again.
yes. You will start with the third one again.
Hi Apurva, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah. Give 2-3 minutes because people are joining again.
Yes,
After
yes.
2 minutes, you can start again with the third myth. Okay.
Yeah.
डॉक्टर साहेबच गेले वाटतं बहुतेक.
He will come back. He will come back.
Oh, okay, that one is right.
लॉंग कट घेतो तो प्रत्येक गोष्टीला लॉंग कट येईल तो असा.
नाही 88 चे असेच आहेत म्हणा सगळे.
हो ठीक आहे ना, काय हरकत नाही, येतात तरी.
कारखाना आठवतं वाटतं तुम्हाला 10वीतला.
त्यांनी शॉर्टकट न घेण्यासारखे आमच्यासारखे लोक जबाबदार आहेत. शॉर्टकट मारला की फटकवायचं. शॉर्टकट मारला की फटकवायचं.
पिशाला PS ला कॉल केला, ही जॉईनिंग बॅक.
ओके ओके ओके.
त्याला वाटलं की हिज वर्क इज ओव्हर. म्हटलं तुझी स्लाइड दाखवायची तुला. Rajya, how are you?
I'm good, sir. How about you?
Good, good.
हो
उद्या दाढी कधी वाढवली?
काय सरांचा लुकच चेंज झालाय बरं का. राजू माने सरांचा लुक म्हणलं चेंज झाला सगळ्यात पूर्ण.
मला कोणी ओळखू नाही म्हणलं, नाही 88 बॅचचा आहे की नाही लोक विचारतात ना मला.
Rajya is looking like his father in young days.
राईट राईट राईट. नाही अजून
काय पिशा आलाय की नाही?
नाही अजून. तुमच्या बॅचचे अजून एक ते कर्नल काहीतरी यादव वगैरे आहेत ना, ते सुद्धा असंच दिसतंय.
डॉक्टर प्रकाश आलाय.
PS, you share the screen. The screen.
करा तुला ती लास्ट स्लाइड.
Is it seen now? Slide?
Yeah, it's coming, it's coming.
No, no. This.
हा हा येस
Apurva, continue.
या
Yeah. So I will repeat the third one again.
या.
The myth is that diet drinks are better for you. There are many people who say that sugar-free aerated drinks are better for you and do not damage teeth as much. However, this is false. They do cause immense damage and it will cause erosion of the outer layer of the tooth, which will lead to further decay or make you susceptible to disease. The fourth myth is whitening damages teeth. There are many patients who come and ask, doctor, doesn't whitening damage your teeth? Why should we do it? However, this is if you use the whitening products professionally under professional guidance and use it with modern techniques, it is very safe and it does not cause any damage. However, if you use products which should not be used, then it leads to damage of the tooth surface. The last myth is that harder you brush, the cleaner your teeth will get. This is false. You can aggressive brushing and using of a hard or a medium bristle toothbrush will lead to excessive loss of the outer tooth structure. This will not make your teeth clean. They'll make it more susceptible to caries and decay. So you should always use a soft toothbrush with gentle motion, gentle round motion or sweeping motions. This will clean your teeth more effectively and it will make it your teeth will remain safe and sound as well. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Apurva.
Thank
So,
you.
PS,
I think Yogesh. Hello. Am I audible?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
you're audible.
Yogesh, hand over mic to Sunil. Then like he can take it up and.
So yeah, so I am unmuted, so I can talk. PS, you have to stop. PS, can you stop sharing the screen?
One sec. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, Shashikant or somebody can do
Any
admin.
questions, keep Dr. Prakash Patil can take it offline. If anyone has any questions, Dr. Prakash Patil can
Yeah,
be
we will
reachable.
share his phone number
I'll
and
share his details.
yeah, right.
I'll share those. Okay.
I'll stop sharing
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'll unmute myself.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
I know I'm mute.
So let me share the screen.
Yes.
Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. I think most of you know me. I'm Sunil Bodke. Why I have added this slide is to set the context of this presentation. This talk is around midlifers. When you start business, what are the areas you should look at? What are the challenges? And what are the benefits typically you have when you start your journey as an entrepreneur? So I started after 15 years of a technology experience. So I started around age of 39, 40. Okay. After that, last 10 years, I have been an entrepreneur. Sold one IT company. Did not sell at higher valuation, but we had to make a call. It was not doing good, but we got a good buyer and sold at reasonable price. And these are some of the decisions that you have to take in your business. You may have plans, you may have dreams, but at certain time you have to take decisions and divert your path. So that's what we did. So that's one learning I have in that whole journey, which I will talk in subsequent slides. So after that product was sold, we started Predictly, which we focus on new age technologies, which is RPA, robotic process automation, AI/ML. So me or my partner, we do not have any experience in RPA and AI/ML, but as a business, as an entrepreneur, you have to take risks. So I'll talk about some of these things. Why did we start about RPA and AI/ML? Okay, and I'm 81, 88 pass out. Okay, so let me go to the next slide. So when you start your business at the age of 40, what I have seen is you have advantage. The advantage is of multiple areas. One is you have a lot of good network. You have trained yourself as a in job, okay, and you have gone through a life cycle of being started as a fresher to a stage where you may be managing projects. Okay, so you have gone through different roles. Okay, so that gives you a lot of advantage. Okay, you build a lot of connections, and those connections can help you when you start the business. Okay, and global studies also proves it that most of the successful entrepreneurs, they are in the age of 40s. And if you look at people in the 50s, the chance of success if somebody starts business at the age of 50 is twice if somebody starts business at the age of 25. Okay? And that's a global study done looking at multiple enterprises. Okay? 75% of the enterprises or start founders have more than 6 years experience, and 50% have more than 10 years. Okay? So one so what I have learned from here is when I started as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of network that I had built, and that network helped us. The first project that we got was just because of network. I was part of the technology side, so nothing, I didn't know anything about sales marketing. So how do you go to market and do sales? So we just reached out to our network, and we got the first project from a pretty reasonably good size customer. So starting at the age of 35, 40 does give you advantage of your network. Okay? Now, when you have 8 to 10 years of experience, one very important thing I have learned is you get used to working certain way in large corporates. So I was working in TCS, I was working in HP. So those large organizations, they have their own setup, their own infrastructure, their own support system. And when you work with that support system, somehow you start believing that things can happen very easily. Practically, it is not the case. When you go on your own, everything you have to do on your own, right? So certain things you have to learn, certain things you have to unlearn. And there are some examples I can give. As a delivery person, I was in delivery. So as a delivery person, we used to always look at the sales and pre-sales side and always find out lacunas in them. Okay? So when I started business, I started understanding that side of business. So, how do sales and pre-sales people look at the business? What are the challenges they face? Okay. So when you go as a salesperson, you should not think of delivery. So you should not think of execution. So those are some of the learnings. So I had to go through. Relearning is very important as a business, because as you keep doing business every year, customers will teach you something different. There will be new technology that will come in the market. You have to understand that technology. Your employees will start behaving differently. During 15 years, 10 years back, the employees, they used to stay with you. But now, last 5 years, what I have seen is employees are not loyal to you. They move on. They move on very fast. So what you thought 10 years back about employees and what you think today is very different. Okay? So that is one thing I learned as part of this last 10 years journey. Okay? One very important thing is, as a as a as a as an employee, it is always good to be specialist. So you have to be expert in one area, and your organization likes you to be expert in one area, because then you can do justice to that. You can be very good in that particular area. You can be a expert salesman. You can be one minute, hold on. So you can be a very good architect. When I say architect, I'm talking from technology side. So you can be expert in some area, and that always helps you to grow in organization. But when you start a business, you have to quickly move from specialist to generalist. You have to learn everything. You have to do everything from HR to admin, to finding office, to talking to the tenant, talking to employees. So you have to be everything. So that is one thing, and it is difficult at time, because you have never played that role. So you have to quickly learn those things. Okay? Uh, when you start, typically at the age of 40, 35, 40, you have only 15, 20 years maximum, before which you have to take decision about your business. So I think you should always start with end in mind. So what do you want to do after 10 years? Do you want to say 10, 15 years down the line, you will be 50, 55 years of age, and you don't want to be struggling in business after that. So you should have some aim that, okay, at the age of 50, 55, which is 5, 10 years down the line, what should I do? Should I sell my business? Do I want to merge my business with some other company? Should I go for IPO? Some company which is successful may go for IPO, or there are many times chances that there will be failure. Okay, so but you have to think of all those things. And when you let's say I have decided that I want to sell my business after 10 years, then your focus area will be very different. And I will tell you about ourselves. So we started Predictly, and we started Predictly 2 years back, and we have a goal that in the next 5 to 7 years, we want to sell that company to some large US based company. Now, with that in mind, we have taken some decisions. So one of the decision is we have partnered with existing. So we have started work on RPA, AIML, which are new areas. Within that, we have also partnered with US based large companies, large providers of RPA, AIML. So how it helps is, once you have partnered with these companies, and once you have 150 to 200 employees, and at least 15, 20 large customers working for you, these large companies are looking for such specialized companies like Predictly, and they would look at these companies and may take over these companies. So with that mind of selling our company in 5 to 7 years, we took a decision that we'll go with RPA. We'll partner with one of the RPA company, and then we'll have at least 3 to 5 very large customers. So when I say very large customers, at least 15-20% should be working for each of these customers. Once you have these large 15-20 customers, it is very easy for the large company to buy you out. So always think of what is your end goal. If your end goal is that you want to continue doing the business for 25 years, then you should have different thoughts every year on how you should run the business. So when you start, you are all on your own. I think this is very important. You have strong support system when you are employed somewhere. You never realize it, but you will only realize it when you start on your own. And when I say support system, you have admin, you have HR, you have recruitment team, you have sales people, you have pre-sales people. Everybody is there as part of large corporate. But when you start on your own, always remember that you are alone. There will be times when you will be frustrated when you are alone, but one of the key things here is always start your journey with partners. You alone are not expert in everything. You have to always look at partners who have complementary skills. And I will give our example. When I started my first company, three of us started, and all three were from technology. And we knew each other as friends, but at the same time, we had interest in business. We started a business, we became partners. Soon, we realized that the combination was not correct because all three were technologists. We should always have people with complementary skills. So, we always had a challenge of not having sales and marketing team. We always had a challenge of not having somebody from operations, only looking at operations. Okay, so so very very important learning. Never start alone. Always have partners because there will be times when there will be ups and downs in your own life as well. And when you are down, when you cannot contribute to your business, somebody else will pick up and somebody else will put more effort. And that's where you should always have somebody as partner. When you start in 40s, you should always have partners who are young. It always helps to have young partners because that way they have different ideas, they have seen the world different way, plus their connections are at different level. Okay, so always have partners who have little less experience than you. It does help you. And so when I started Predictly, the second company, one of the key criteria for us was we should have one partner who is very strong in sales marketing and who is in US. So when we started this Predictly, we identified and we found a partner, partner in our company who is US based, who has stayed in US for 15 years, and who is into sales marketing. And that is helping us because now this effort is distributed. He only focuses on sales marketing, and two partners here only focus on operations and delivery, and it is helping us grow. Entrepreneurship is everyday high risk journey. Every day there will be unknowns. The unknowns can be now we are facing the COVID situation, right? Now COVID, we all have impact. As an individual, whoever is employed has an impact of the job loss. There is a salary cut. But as an entrepreneur, the impact is very high. And when I say very high, I'll give some examples. When the COVID started, we had two customers with whom we were working for last 2 years, and they paused the work. So they said we want to pause the work for at least next 3 months, okay? Because we had a good relation with this customer, and though there was a 1.5 month notice period, we said okay, we can stop the work immediately. So there was an immediate impact where customers stopped the work, and we had to honor that. Second was existing customers who were supposed to start the work in April month. Three of them, a US-based customer, they have said they will not. They will again look at the situation and discuss again in the June month, which means there is a direct impact of loss of revenue from new customers as well. But you as an individual have to manage all these risks as an entrepreneur. Now, COVID is a very special case. But even if you leave aside COVID, in general, what we have seen is there are risks from customers every day. Customers can stop the work for not for your reasons. There can be other reasons. And I'll give one example. Like last year, we had a very large oil and gas customer. And in October, November, December, the oil and gas prices started going down. With oil and gas prices started going down, they decided they want to curtail the outsourcing, and they asked us to reduce the number of team members. Okay, so from our side we are delivering good, but it was just because of the impact, environmental impact, and the pricing reduction in oil and gas that we had this customer who reduced the revenue for us. So this was one of the largest customer we had. So we took a decision last year when this customer said that they want to reduce the resources by half, that we will not have any customer who will have more than 15% revenue. So not a single customer should have more than 15% revenue within our organization. Okay. So if there is one customer who starts giving us 20-25% revenue, it's a big risk that we are carrying, because if this customer tomorrow says no, 25, there is a direct 25% impact on revenue. In such cases, we take decision by focusing less on that customer, but focusing more on other customer, acquiring other customers. Second risk that we have as a startup is employees, they are never loyal to you, especially for startups. Now the good thing that has happened is a lot of young people, they want to join startup, they want to work for startup, which is a good thing that has happened. It was never the case 10, 15 years back when I was doing job. When I was doing job, I always wanted to work with companies like TCS. I was always wanted to work with company like Infosys. I never wanted to work with a company who had 1,000, 2,000 employees. Versus now the scenario is very different. Employees, young people, they want to learn, they are ready to take risk. Okay, but you will typically find 20% of your employees who are willing to stick with you. 70-80% of the employees will always keep looking for opportunities if they don't get good work or if they don't get good salary. So you have to always manage that risk. Okay, and you have to take decisions very fast. A lot of times the decisions will be wrong. We have seen it many times. Our decisions have gone wrong, but we don't repent it. That is a decision that we took that time with whatever calculations we did. So keep taking decisions. If you go wrong in one decision, doesn't mean you slow down taking decisions in future. Okay, so we have taken some decisions after COVID. Now whether those are right, wrong, we don't know. But today in current scenario, we feel it is the right decision we have taken. So same way you have to keep taking your decisions, and you should not have emotions when you take business decisions. See, everybody as a human beings, we are emotional. Within the three of us, three partners, I will say I'm more emotional than others. Okay? But then again, you keep learning from your partners. So what I have seen is you never link business decisions to emotions. You should leave your emotions aside. Now that is linked to your customers. Now there are customers who will request you and say, I do not have funds, so can you extend my work? Can you continue my work for next 2-3 months? Okay. Now there are these signs are risks that customer is not having funds. You can always extend by 1 or 2 months, but after that also, if you don't get funds, you have to take tough call. You have to tell the customer will not do the work for you, and these are difficult decisions for you because we had a customer where 15 people are working with this customer who is from Malaysia, and last 4 months they have not given the payment to us, and the reason is they are going through bad patch. But last month we had to tell them if you don't get the payment by May, we are going to reduce the team from 15 to 5. Okay, so we sometimes feel this may not be right from customer perspective because customer has a product which we are building, and if we remove 10 people, customer's product delivery will be delayed. But then you have to take such decisions, because if you don't take such decisions, you as an organization are at loss. Okay? So always keep taking those risky decisions, because if you don't take risky decisions, if you don't take such decisions, your business is at loss. Your business is at risk. You should always stay curious as an entrepreneur. As an employee, if you are doing a specific job and you become expert in that, people respect you. People as a entrepreneur, always keep looking what are the new things that are happening. Are there any new areas which may result in my current focus area being dislodged? Example is if I'm working on, I'll give you some example from technology side. 4 years, 5 years back, mobile app development was in demand, very hot. Everybody wanted to do mobile app development. Okay, 2 years back, and if you look at the downtrend started 2 years back, where today nobody. So mobile app development has become so simple, so easy with tools. If you are a mobile app development company, there is no way you'll grow fast. You will get a very low rate from customers, and you will not get you'll have to do a lot of hard work to get customers. Okay? So you have to keep always looking at where the market is going, which are the new trends, and that's how when we started Predictly, we looked at what will be good hot for next 5 to 10 years, and we identified robotic process automation and machine learning. These are the areas that we felt will be in demand for next 5 to 10 years. And we decided to start work on those areas. None of us knew what is RPA, what is AI/ML, but we knew that this is going to be a hot area. Okay, so we took a risk that even if we don't know, it really doesn't matter. You have to have right people with you who know those areas. You have to have right partnerships, which we did with one of the large US-based company, Automation Anywhere, which is amongst top 2 global RPA providers. Okay, so you have to do right partnership. So with those, I think those challenges of you not knowing technology are taken away. And you should always challenge status quo. It happens to us as well when we start a business, and when the business is running on regular basis, you you your business gets monotonous. You get customers, you are delivering the customers work, you get the money, and it continues a month on month. Okay, now once you get used to it, you will never grow. So you should always challenge the status quo. You should always think, can you do the business different way? uh, can uh, uh, can you acquire customers from geographies where you are not thought of? Uh, can uh, can you increase more people at on site? Some of the areas where you are not comfortable, you should look at those areas and try to prove yourself. So this is very important thing that I have learned. Okay? You should always hire employees who are better than you. As a entrepreneurs, you typically, when you start the journey, you are small, and when you are small, you have a less number of customers, and you always feel that if I have good employees who are smart, they may start on their own, they may take away your customers. So that is a risk. I agree, that is a risk, but more risk is not having right people. You should always have people who are smarter than you, so that they can take over the work from you, and they can take it to next level. These risks can be managed different ways. Of skilling the client and those things can always be managed. And I have seen in last 7 8 years journey, you are never at that risk of your employees taking away your customers, okay, if you manage it well. But very, very important thing, you should always have people who are employees who are smarter than you. You should give empower them. You should allow them to take risk, and we have done that. So there are customers where we have directly involved our 6 years 7 years experienced people to take the work. There were escalations from customer side saying that this person is not good, there are challenges in communication, or he or she is not honoring the commitment. But then you have to work with the customer and manage those risks. You will go through difficult times initially when you expose these employees of yours, because they are new to some of the areas. But once you go through that initial teething trouble, these are the employees who will then start managing not one, 4 5 projects. We have 7 8 years experienced employees, only 4 of them, and literally those 4 people are managing most all our projects. So we have 100 people now, and only these 4 people are managing. And we went through that cycle of empowering them and giving them opportunity. So always empower your people. So financial side, this is one area which typically we always ignore. When you start business, you start with very you always have dreams that in next 5 years or 10 years I'll be 100 crore company or 200 crore company, whatever. And then once you start thinking of those positive things, you start taking a lot of risk, and you take a lot of financial risk. So one learning that we have is you should minimize financial risk. Okay? You should, as an individual, as a founder, you should invest minimal of your money. You should always either invest money from investors, or most important thing we have learned is you should invest money earning from customers. If you get used to investing your own money, you get complacent. Never invest your own money from day one. You can have minimal of your investment, but always look at earning money either from investors or your customers. And I will say more from customers. It is always good to earn money from customers. So put your all energy to earn money from customers and use that to grow your business. Minimize investing your own money. Another important thing is, as a founders, when we start a journey, we will say, okay, first 2 years or 3 years, I will not take the salary. Never do that mistake. You are working. Think of yourself as a founder, entrepreneur. Also think of yourself as an employee. Take some salary. Whatever it is, you should take some salary, because it brings discipline, financial discipline in your organization. Those expenses get booked. Okay, and you also need, as an individual, you need funds, right, to manage your family. So always take money for yourself. When you start taking money for yourself, you will do your financial planning correctly for your organization. we should always have mentors when you start entrepreneurship. Okay? And I will give our example. So when we started, because we had worked in technology, delivering IT solutions to customer, what we thought was, when we start our business, we'll not do IT services. We'll create a IT product, uh, like the way you have multiple products, like Tally is the old age product, but similarly, we'll create some product, and we'll sell that product and earn money. When we are very optimistic, positive, said we'll take this product to say 5 countries, 1,000 customers, and so on. Our mentor, we had two mentors, and they used to always tell us, look at your strength. What is your strength? Have you sold similar product to outside US, outside India? Have you ever sold product? If you are not sold product, you are going to area where you do not have strength. So look at the area where you are strong. If you are strong in IT technology delivery, focus on that. Okay, you will get more business there because you know nitty gritties of that particular area. And it helped us. Initially, we started a product journey. We got relatively good success in that product, and we sold that product when it didn't grow above some level. But after that, we always remembered what our mentor used to say. So after that, we started on the IT services, which was our strength, and within that, we picked up new areas. So your mentors will always align your thoughts and tell you to look at the risks. As an entrepreneur, you are always optimistic and positive. You're always thinking, in next 1 year I will be this big, in next 2 years I will be this big. You at times start neglecting risk, and these entrepreneurs are so these mentors, they will help you realign yourself, realign your thoughts, and ask you look at the risk. You should always have experienced mentors as well as young mentors. So if you have somebody so let's say you start a business at 40, 42, and if you have you always look at a mentor who is 40 to 45, plus also look at a mentor who is in the 30, 35 age experience range. So that person understands the world different way. So always have mentors on both sides of the age. Okay. You as an entrepreneur, you go through very difficult times. There are times when you don't know what to do. You are cornered. Your customer, you're thinking that these 4 or 5 customers will come, but those customers are delaying the decisions. Yeah, then your cash flow is a challenge. In such cases, you always need supporting hand. You always need people with whom you can go and talk. uh, Talk about your problem, take their support. Okay, and people who will not judge you, who will always support you. So you should also have such secured bases with you. So those can be your family, that can be your friends. And I think the school fraternity Sainiks have really helped me. So I have also gone through those difficult times, and every entrepreneur goes through these difficult times. uh, However successful or not successful that person is, there are ups and downs, and whenever there are downs, you need such people where you can go and talk to them. They will give you the confidence. They will motivate you. So always have such people with whom you can go and talk to. This is one thing our mentor told us when we started initially few consulting projects. uh, we customer said, can you do this particular work for free? Okay? And that was a big customer. There were two customers which are pretty big, and we said we'll do it for free. We went to our mentor and we said, this is how we are thinking, we'll give it free because then we'll get more projects from this customer. What our mentor told us is, see, there's nothing free in the world. Never give anything free to customer. You can always have a different way of acquiring customers. You can always tell that, let's say the price is $10,000, I'll give you for $3,000. There is a price of $10,000. There's a value. The customer should always know that it is $10,000, but as a special case, I'm giving you for $3,000. Never saying that I will give you for 3,000. It is 10,000, but special case I'm giving you $3,000 as a price, 7,000 as a discount. Or second thing can be, the price is 10,000. I will charge you 10,000. But if you give me the larger project, then in that larger project you can discount. I'll give you a discount of $10,000. So there are different ways of pricing to customers. But one thing is never give it free. Typically, customers don't respect free. When you give something free, they will always ask for more. So always attach price to the effort that you are doing, the work that you are doing. Entrepreneur journey is a psychological journey. You need to have a lot of strength. You need to have a lot of emotional quotient with you, because there will be how much ever you grow. Initially, your challenges are different. When you start, you are very positive. You have grand vision in mind. There will be times when there's a lot of workload that you have. Okay? Suddenly you will lose a customer. Some of your critical employees will be gone. A situation like COVID will come. Okay? So these are all situations which test you. Yeah, you have to be very strong mentally, and so I will say for me it is more of a psychological journey. How do you manage that situation as an individual? That's more important. Your smartness, whatever education qualification you have, how smart, technically smart you are. I think those are secondary things. It's more of managing that situation, which is more important than all these other things. One more important thing. So, you as an entrepreneur, you should always have faith and persistence. You should keep doing what you're doing. There will be times when you don't see any light ahead, but always remember that you push yourself little more, and suddenly there will be light. Okay? And we have seen that there were some scenarios where we thought we have lost this customer, but then we did it different way. We asked somebody else to contact that person. There was no way out. How can we win this customer? We searched through LinkedIn. We found out somebody whom we know and who this customer knew. So we went through this particular person, and we won the deal. So always try doing different way. Keep faith and keep fighting. You'll always win. That's one thing I can tell. And that's all from my side. I think I covered at very high level. The journey for me, I can tell you the journey of entrepreneurship has been pretty interesting for me. There are a lot of learning that I have, and more important, I will after 5 years of my entrepreneurship journey, I decided whatever happens, I will never join back job. I will never do the job, because there is a fun, and there is fun to entrepreneurship. You can never go back and do job. That's my feeling. Some people may go back, but most of the people who do entrepreneurship cannot go back and do the job, because as an entrepreneur, you have a lot of flexibility. You get used to managing risk. Okay? And when you think of job, those are very as a employee, you feel there are there are only limited things that you do, which versus as an entrepreneur, you keep doing a lot of other things, which always gives you kick, which you don't get as an employee. That's from my side. Thank you all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Sunil sir.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. Yeah, just a minute. Thank you, Dr. Prakash and Sunil. Just one thing I want to share. Fortunately, I was a witness to both of these good speakers' journey. Thanks for sharing your thought processes, and I open the session for question answers to both.
Last 1 minute left, huh? Last 1 minute left.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we need to rejoin.
माझा प्रश्न डॉक्टर साहेबांना आहे.
Yeah, we may have to rejoin.
Yeah. We need to rejoin, because we are left out with hardly 52 seconds.
We will rejoin.
Yeah.
Let's rejoin.
Yeah, we'll rejoin for the question answers.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you, Dr. Prakash, and thanks, Sunil. Let's rejoin for the question answer.
So, Shashikant, I will share the presentation. You can share with others.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll do
Yeah,
that. But
that's
then let's
where
say,
even this. Even this session is also been recorded, rejoin. So that is also going to be shared. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think there was a question for Dr. Prakash. Somebody wanted to ask.
पण कसं की आता आपण कसं की हे डिस्कनेक्ट होईल कधीही, म्हणजे आता लास्ट 5 सेकंद राहिले.
अरे प्रश्न तर विचारू दे, प्रश्न विचारू दे.
Let the question be raised. Let the question be raised.
कधी कंटिन्यू राहतो तो नाही.